delve into the world of complex numbers and the imaginary numbers. And to start off with, we're just going to introduce the imaginary unit, where the imaginary unit is I, and that's equal to the square root of -1. So, whenever you have the square root of a negative number, that's when the imaginary numbers, the I, come into play. So remember during that last unit test, and during the last unit when we were solving quadratic equations, and we ended up, when we were trying to complete the square or use a quadratic formula, we ended up with the square root of a negative number. And I was kind of a stickler on whether you wrote no real solutions as opposed to no solution. Because there were solutions to it that just weren't real numbers. So today we're going to talk about those quadratic equations having solutions. So first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to simplify radicals that involve negative numbers. So, in this first one, the square root of -18, whenever you have the square root of a negative number, that's where I comes into play. So then that becomes I times the square root of 18. And some people like to write the I after the square root. Some people like to write it before. Personally, I like to write it before the square root. So that's just to clarify, to make sure that it's not under the square root. So then what we do from there is simplify the square root of 18, just like we did in the last unit. And a couple of different ways you can do that. You can look for a perfect square that goes into 18, which many of you might be able to see is 9. Or you can do the upside down division. And during the upside down division, 18 is even, so I divide it by 2, goes in there 9 times. Prime number that goes into 9 is 3 times, 3 and 1. And remember, you're looking for a pair. So whenever you have a pair of, goes outside with the I, and then whatever's left over goes inside. So 3I square root of 2 is how the square root of -18 simplifies. With B, taking the square root of -12, again, since it's a square root of a negative number, we bring out that I, and then we can do the upside down division of the 12. And this time we have a pair of 2s, so that goes outside with the I. And square root of 3 left over inside. Square root of -25, well, that's going to be I times the square root of 25. And hopefully all of you can remember that the square root of 25 is 5. So that just becomes 5I. And finally, square root of -7 becomes I square root of 7. And square root of 7 cannot be simplified. So that is the final solution. So that is simplifying square roots involving negative numbers. In the next video, we're going to look at performing operations with complex numbers, addition, subtraction, and multiplication.